Settling down early isn't the goal. The goal is settling down with the right person. People get married all the time in their 20s, end up divorced in their 30s. And that's just real talk. The average woman isn't Lori Harvey. Average woman doesn't have Lori Harvey's pockets. I think it's actually really funny when people kind of look to women like her and they're like, I'm gonna start dating like her. Okay, sis. Okay.
I may be young, but I'm ready to give you all my love.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Michelleamoree, and if you are new here, hi, hello, welcome. So today's video is going to be a chit chat, get ready with me / girl talk. As you ladies probably already know, Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan broke up. Everybody and their mama is talking about it, and I mean, I feel some type of way about, you know, what another woman does with her coochie is her business. But since we are talking about it, let me go ahead and hop into the conversation and give my 2 cents. But let me go ahead and do so while I'm doing my makeup. So I'm not really gonna go into much detail about the makeup look I'm doing, but I do want the focus of this video to kind of be on the situation that's going on, my thoughts on it, and things that I think we as women can kind of like take from the situation. All right, so first things first, we do not know these people, okay? All we know are the cute little pictures they take, the cute little trips they go on, their names, and how they look. Outside of that, we know absolutely nothing about their relationship. So I'm not gonna make this video like some kind of think piece about what I think is going on in their heads and why they're moving the way they're moving. No, I think we all know the facts. Michael B. Jordan is an older gentleman. He's 35, I believe. Lori Harvey is in her mid-20s. Sis is 25. Sis is beautiful, doing the damn thing, you know, starting businesses, just really doing well for himself. Michael B. Jordan is a very established man, obviously very famous, very wealthy. Apparently, I also heard that he recently bought a home. So it seems like he's in a place in his life where he's trying to be more established. Now, people are speculating that apparently they broke up because he wanted something more like, you know, he wants commitment, he wants marriage or whatever he's looking for. And she's not really vibing with that right now. So just based off of those things, I kind of want to give my 2 cents on this whole idea of like settling down in your mid-20s or early 20s as a woman, and just kind of like the advantages and the disadvantages, and kind of like the thought processes that a lot of women in that position might be going through. So if you're kind of unfamiliar with me, first of all, hi. I was engaged, or I met my fiance at 23. I was engaged by 24, and we will be married by 25. And so for me, and the whole thought process of like settling down early, and I guess it's like early in nowadays times, just because, you know, people are getting married much later nowadays. People are settling down nowadays, especially now that women, you know, we have equal access or more access to education and careers and stuff. You see a lot of women taking the route of like focusing on business, focusing on growing their careers, and not being so much in a rush to settle down and get married and start a family and all of that. And so as somebody who kind of, I guess, went against the grain, if you can say that, I really don't view it as that revolutionary, honestly. Like, I feel like getting married at 25, engaged at 23, like, it's not that big of a deal to me. But I think for some people, you know, I see stuff on Twitter when people are like, oh, I think it's like madness to get married in your 20s. Like, I'm definitely gonna start having my family in my 30s and stuff. To each his own. But for somebody in my perspective, obviously I really do value marriage, and I feel like there's a lot of benefits to long-term commitment, and there's a lot of benefits to entering into a long-term committed relationship earlier as a woman, as opposed to waiting until much later when you feel like, you know, you're super established, you've done everything you've ever wanted to do, and all of that. I think one thing that's really important to realize as a woman, and I think this is because it's like so crazy that it's now a very like controversial thing to like say, but the truth of the matter is, and it's just science, you know, go argue with scientists, we have a biological clock, especially if you're a woman who wants children, wants to be, you know, a mother. There's a timeline for that, unless you are personally looking into like, you know, maybe surrogacy or, you know, freezing your eggs and other alternatives. But if you're looking to have like a natural birth, the prime time to do that is in your 20s. And so I think it's really important for us as women, especially as women in our 20s, early 30s, whatever the case may be, to kind of move, not necessarily in a sense of like desperation, but with some inkling of urgency. You know, I'm not saying come out here and be desperate and, you know, say yes to any man who gets down on a knee, obviously not. And I will say that's one thing that I can say that I appreciate with how Lori Harvey kind of moves. Sis seems to be the type where if it's not working for me and it's not serving me, I'm gone. And I feel like that's important to maintain your standards and know what you want as a woman navigating the dating space, so that you're not ending up in a situation where you've truly settled in all different types of ways. But with that said, I think as women, it's really important for us to just be honest and be real with ourselves. I think a lot of us really do have that yearning for marriage, for family, but in this society and with how hustle culture and all of that stuff is just so praised, I feel like a lot of us feel like the only way to have some sense of value in modern society is to be rich, is to have an amazing career, is to do all these things. And it's funny enough because you meet a lot of women who are these power boss babes, and some of them aren't that happy because they neglected that internal calling and that internal desire to be a wife, to be a mom. And I don't know if you guys watched the show, it's the Ladies Who List or something like that, the Atlanta ladies. And I know I think one of the lead ladies, her name is like Kiana Watson, like this amazing woman. I follow her on Instagram. I love her stuff. And she was being very vulnerable and talked about like, you know, I'm in my 40s, I've been able to create this amazing business, I'm wealthy, I have all these properties, I have everything I could possibly want. But she was just so, you know, distraught about the fact that she is having issues with conceiving and starting her own family, and how much that's something that she really desires and really wants. And I just fear that with how modern society is moving, more and more women are gonna find themselves in that situation just because we're in a society that bases our value as women in our productivity in the workforce, as opposed to, you know, other things that have been traditionally valued in womanhood, like being a mother, being a wife. And so with the whole Lori Harvey situation, I really do like understand what some people are saying with like, you know, why is she not ready to settle down? She should, you know, commit to somebody and not just, you know, continue just dating recklessly or whatever. But I think it's also important to realize the average woman isn't Lori Harvey. Average woman doesn't have Lori Harvey's pockets. Average woman doesn't have Lori Harvey's looks. So certain things that she can get away with, the average woman can't. And so I think it's actually really funny when people kind of look to women like her and they're like, I'm gonna start dating like her. Okay, sis. Okay. And then something else I really wanted to speak on is just the fact that men and women really have to like navigate the dating space a bit differently because we don't have the same privileges as men. Like take for example our dating pool. Men are able, like a 35-year-old man in Michael B. Jordan's position has his pickings. You know, he can pick whomever he so desires. But a 35-year-old woman, like the average 35-year-old woman, or even like a spectacular in shape, amazing 35 year-old woman does not, does not have the same amounts of options and the same quality of dating pool as a man in a similar position would have. And I think that's where it's really important to kind of view dating as some kind of like, strategic thing to navigate with some kind of plan in mind. It really would benefit women more to get out of this dating game when you are at your prime, when your options are at their highest, and you can really just get more because of the position you're in. And I think modern society does us such a disservice with this whole rhetoric of don't get married in your 20s, wait until your 30s, wait until you have $1 million in the bank and a car and a house and I don't know, your freaking retirement already saved up for. Like, anyone who tells you that does not love you, let's just be honest, they don't love you. And I don't want this message of like, my value for like marriage at a younger age to kind of be misconstrued for just settling or just taking on whoever kneels down and gives you a ring. That's definitely not the case. I admire the fact that Lori Harvey seemingly, obviously I don't know her and I don't know her decisions for leaving her relationships with past men, but she seems to be someone who's not afraid to like end something and move forward. And I think that's an important value for women to have, especially when navigating the dating space, to not feel as if this is the end all be all for me and to settle for a situation that does not work for you. Definitely leave. Because I think one of the reasons why a lot of people talk about for women to wait until their 30s, they say the stuff of like, you know yourself better, you know what you want, yada 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 yada. Listen, there are women in their 20s who have a good handle of that stuff, and no one gets to a point in life where it's like, oh, I've reached maximum understanding of who I am. That's just not the case. But don't let that rhetoric scare you from committing to a great man just because you're in your 20s or just because you're longer. Go ahead and take that decision and move forward, because it honestly could be the very best decision that you'll ever make in your life. And personally, I'm very happy that I met my fiance the time I did in my life, because I was very much so down that path of like wanting to be that super boss woman and work that high corporate legal job and all that stuff, knowing damn well in my heart of hearts the thing I want the most in this life is to be a wife and a mom. Sorry, I had to go ahead and put my lashes off camera. But like I was saying, with meeting my fiance, it's given me the ability to focus on what I really value more so than like a career and slaving for corporate America and all of that, and just really move in a manner that is going to build towards that kind of lifestyle that I want for myself. So I think there's a lot of benefits that come with settling down with the right person. And I think that's one thing that I'm seeing in the media that I don't necessarily appreciate from people who are a bit more conservative and traditional when it comes to dating. Settling down early isn't the goal. Settling down in your 20s isn't necessarily the goal. The goal is settling down with the right person at preferably an optimal time. Anything outside of that, listen, people get married all the time in their 20s and they're divorced in their 30s. And that's just real talk. And God forbid, I don't pray that over anybody. I don't wish that on anybody. But that's why it's really important to navigate the dating space, having a good, solid, strong understanding of who you are as a woman and what you require and what you envision for yourself. Miss Lori might not be at a position in her life where she knows what she wants, where she even values long-term commitment right now. And that's okay. I'd rather for a woman to be in a position where she is leaving situations that no longer serve her and that aren't conducive for where she is in her growth journey, as opposed to just settling and putting up with the situation for the sake of, feeling fearful of what might or what might not come next in the future. And like I said, the average woman isn't Lori Harvey. So of course, I think it's important to date with a sense of urgency, not desperation. There's a difference, but also be mindful of the fact that as we as women age and we get older, our dating prospects, honestly, they decrease. They really do. Whereas a man like Michael B. Jordan, people are out here being like, why isn't he dating a other 35-year-old who would probably want the same thing? Because that's not the pick of the crop for him. Like, that's not his number one top choice. Michael B. Jordan is a multi-millionaire. If he wants to, he can date a 20-year-old. He literally could do that. So I mean, like, people are fighting nature, and it's like, don't fight nature, don't fight what just the way life works. Figure it out, understand it, and try to navigate it in a manner that works to your benefit, as opposed to sitting here in a state of delusion thinking that, oh, when I'm a 40-year-old woman who's a boss woman and has her career and da-da-da-da, I then get to pick the cream of the crop for men that I can settle down and marry. Like, sis, let's stop lying to ourselves. Let's stop.
Guys, let's face the reality. Let's not lie to ourselves.
And so if you're running around talking about, let me date like Lori Harvey's dating, and, you know, be passing up, I don't know how MBJ is. I don't know if Michael B. Jordan is like a really good man, but assuming he's a decent man and would make a good partner, if you out here being like, yeah, I'm a date like Lori, date them all, sis, you're setting yourself for a lot of failure. And, you know, we're in a society that applauds that kind of mentality and that kind of behavior, but in the long term, you're the person that suffers for that. Because for us, like everyday women out here, how often are you going to come in contact with a man who's financially doing very well for himself, has a good head on his shoulder, all of that? Like, if your reason for passing up a man like that is that you feel like you're too young, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like that's just like throwing away a blessing that God is giving you and taking it for granted. I'll actually share something. When I met my fiance, you know, and he was like, we kicked it off like crazy, like so well. I remember telling my best friend, and I was just confiding in her, and I was like, I'm scared that I'm gonna mess this up. Because I had never been in like a serious committed relationship with anybody. Like, I had practically like very little relationship experience. However, I did have a lot of situationship experience. So I was really accustomed to dealing with like BS men who weren't serious about dating, all of that. And so I felt like I was going to take some of like the toxic, you know, behaviors and stuff that I've kind of grown accustomed to in that kind of dating space and apply it to our relationship and miss out on a really good man. And so I think it's really important, especially as a woman out here, if you meet a good solid man, sis, even if you feel like you're not at a position where you're like, okay, I can be somebody's wife tomorrow, get ready. It will benefit you to get ready. It will benefit you to put in the work ASAP, to put yourself in a position where this relationship won't mess up because of your own shortcomings or because of your own fears and things of that nature. Get yourself in a position to be ready for that man. Because baby, the streets are not it. The dating is not it. As someone who's personally been scarred and hurt multiple times out here in these dating streets, I do not desire whatsoever to go back in them streets, to be on another first date, to meet anybody's son. I have zero, sub-zero desire. So don't pass out on a good man over fear or feeling like, you know, oh, I want to get my career established before, like, you know, sometimes you get ready. Sometimes you figure out how you're gonna make it work, because, you know, don't take life for granted. Don't take the opportunities you're given for granted. All right, so this is the final look. I just have this necklace set that I got from Ana Luisa. This is called the Michelle, named after me, just kidding. And then this set that I got from Shein, and that's basically the look for today. So long story short, with everything that I said, One, we aren't men, so we really shoot ourselves in the foot trying to navigate the dating space as a man would. And two, we aren't celebrities with endless amounts of money and exposure like Lori Harvey. So it really doesn't make sense to use her as the template for how you should now navigate your everyday dating life as an everyday woman. So let's utilize some sense and some caution as we're navigating this life. Like I said, there are some good things that I do see from an outsider looking in. I like the fact that Miss Lori seems to be the type of woman to move on if it's not working here, on to the next situation. But at the same time, we everyday women need to be cautious and mindful of the fact that assuming Michael B. Jordan is a decent, great guy, whatever the case may be, you can't be out here passing through men like that thinking that there's always going to be another one coming. Because the truth of the matter, science, biology, argue with your scientist, we as women, we age and our options decrease in the dating market as we get older as well. So cash out at a time where your marketplace value is at its peak, and that way you can have the best option possible for you, as opposed to waiting until you're 30, because society is now in this phase of like mocking people who choose to settle down earlier and, you know, glamorize waiting until your 30s, 40s to settle down and have children. Don't buy into it. If you know it's something that you desire, go ahead and pursue that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked this chit chat, get ready with me. It's been a minute since I've been able to talk to you guys. Please go ahead and give this video a like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts and your opinions. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what your 2 cents on the matter is. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag too. Oh, you a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin'.